Happy Friday. Hi, thanks for being here. I'm excited for today's class. It's a really fun one, and it's something a little different. We're still seed beading, but with wire. And so this is a fun technique, and it's versatile, and of course it can be adapted and become so many things. But these earrings, the ones I'm wearing, are what we're going to make. And they just look so stunning when they're finished. So and they work up pretty fast. So you can make lots of them if you're selling your work. This is a great way to fill up a whole, shelf of beautiful earrings in different colors. And so I was going to show you just step by step how they were made. All right. And so there is a handout for this class, and it is in Millie has dropped it in the chat, and it has a fully illustrated step-by-step guide for what I'm going to show you guys today, showing everything you need to know to how to start it, how to finish it, how to put the charm on it, and just take it from there. So what I have on the mat here are all the supplies that I've been using, and I've got another surprise colorway that I was working on. I tried using this Phoenix mix, which came out really, really, really cool. It looks like this one right here. And this is the one I was going to show just how to finish the end. And I did a little ombre with the two colors that are in that. And I'm thinking we'll put a little charm on the end of it. It would look so neat like that. The original colorway is shown here, and it was made with eggshell. Really pretty eggshell color. And the eggshell color, I thought looked nice with the rose quartz, and that's the one that is the feature. So the way this was made is I started with 24 gauge wire, and I started with these really beautiful pear-shaped frames. And you get 8 pieces, so you can make 4 pairs of earrings with these. And they are a very unique shape that really makes it kind of easy to figure out your exact center so that you can hang your charm on it. Let me show you the one I'm wearing to see how it looks. They're just really fun. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did all of that. And then if we, I'm hoping at the end we'll have a few extra minutes so I can show how to make ear wires, because I've been making my own ear wires lately and really enjoying that process as well. Okay, so just diving in, a lot of wires used in this design, and we were kind of joking before class. I tried to move up the camera, and now it's like moving down. uh, they say on the engineering flowchart, did you mess with it? Well, yes, I did. So it's sad for me, but it is still at least working, we can see, but it's kind of a little bit low for my wire, especially the length we're going to be working with, 40 inches. So 40 inches of wire, it is a lot, and it can be a little bit unwieldy. But that said, it's definitely possible. And so this one's ready to go for the charm. I'm going to set this one aside somewhere over here. And I'm going to start with, we need 40 inches of wire. So a lot. And this, again, I'm using 24 gauge. And I am using German style, but you could use craft if you wanted to use craft wire too. For this wrapping part. For the ear wires, you're going to want German style, but this is definitely not too bad. And so I'm going to go ahead and just cut and measure 40 inches. And I might remove this. There we go. And the trick to this entire technique, I think, is just going as slow as you can, because it is very easy to get a tangle into your wire. And in just a minute here, I was going to show you tools as well. I have not shown you tools yet. I'm just getting to that 40-inch mark right about there. Okay, we're good. Okay. So once you've got that ready, the first tool I want to introduce is Nylon Jaw Pliers. And the Nylon Jaw Pliers, these are loved ones. I've been using them a long time. They will straighten the wire, and they're especially handy for things like these little kinks that we got. See how that, not a big deal, but easy to get rid of. And as we work with the wire, as we pull it through and we're trying to get it to form and shape, it's going to try to fold on itself in a lot of cases. So this is a handy tool to have to fix all of those. And a lot of you might have spool memory for the way that it's coiled into the packaging. And this is a great way to remove your spool memory as well. So I'm just taking one end. And if you can't hold the end with your hands, you can always use your pliers too. Just pull really tightly. And just pulling it through. I focused on those little bends first individually. And now I'm just doing one overall over the whole thing. And it's really worth doing because it straightens it out a lot. And then I just need a finding. Okay, and so the way I like to do my wrapping, when I'm doing wire wraps on components, I try really hard to have my direction the same. And what I mean by the direction is the way I'm going to be folding over. So on this sample design is a great place to show you it. I find it easier to fold this way. So you'd put the bead on and fold in that direction. So with that in mind, I'm going to start with my wire above the component. And then I'm going to leave about 1.25 inches or so on this side. In fact, let me just double check the measurement for you really quick. It looks like we were going to go, we actually said 1.5. I probably do more like 1.25. Probably right about there. It's enough to make 3 coils with. And I'm just keeping it as close as I can to this top part right here. So that's where I'm going to start it. And just hold that all in place. And then just bring this one through and up and around. And if you want, you can just kind of pull on it. Just pull on it a little bit like this to get that coil nice and tight. And then still working with the short end, I'm going to bring it around and forward like that. So far, so good. And it keeps the coils nice and tight. And I'm going to do one more, just like that. I do find that 24 gauge is soft enough I can work it with my hands, but if you want to use a plier assist this, you can grab some chain nose pliers as well. And that is one of the tools that I have here that I'll be using, some chain nose pliers. All right, so there's our 3 coils ready to go. And I'm just going to push those up toward the top, make sure they're nice and tight. And then go ahead and trim the tail right there as close as you can. And you use the flush side of your pliers. And you'll get a tiny little whisper of a tail there that we can flatten down really easily with some pointy chain nose. And you can straighten out your coils on both sides as well. I kind of messed that one up a little bit. Let me fix it. The one good thing about it is it's always possible to fix it, even if you make a mistake. There we go. That's good. And that side's good. Okay. So there we go. That already. Another thing I could do here is I could just really make that nice and tight. Okay. So seed bead time. I've been doing 3 coils. You could get away with doing 2 coils, or you could do 4 coils. It really actually doesn't matter. However many you think looks good. I'm sticking to 3 because that's what I did on the first ones, but you can definitely do a lot. So the one tricky part I must admit here is that with 40 inches of wire, you're working with a very, very long strand. So picking up your seed bead, you're kind of just using it like a needle on the end, but then you've got to slide it all the way down until it meets your component. It gets easier as the wire gets shorter, for sure. But so there, we've got our bead on there. And I'm just going to hold the bead kind of like this and just bend that wire forward. This is where it really helps that we're being consistent with our direction. And so I've got that just like that. And this next part, you just want to go slow. That is the number one secret to it, of not getting a tangle or having your wire bend, is I push it through and then I'll pull it from the side. really slowly. And as you do that, you see how it's just trying to do like a curl. Just go nice and slow and then bring it up like that. And we'll do one more. Push it through. And then just bring it up. And like I like to do 3, so I'm gonna go one more time. And just push it through. And just really slowly, so it's not gonna curl. Bring that through, and then just helping it go up. Okay. Once you've got that, you can take your pliers and straighten out coils if needed. Might look pretty good even without that. I have one thing I like to do on the back side. I'll take a look back here and make sure that it is also staying pretty close. And yeah, Vera's asking, would you use the straightener while doing this? You can, and I'll show you, actually it was something I was gonna mention. I find I can get away with maybe like 3, 4 coils, and then I need to straighten it for a bit. So that has happened to me a few times. But right now, let me just put it so you can see all of my wire really quick. See, it's still not too bad. It's not too coiled yet. So I still feel like it's okay. But I will definitely be pulling that straightener out to help me as it starts to get a little unwieldy. But right here, there's one little thing I do, and this is, you do this when you're certain of position. So meaning you don't want to slide it. If you think you might need to slide it and you want to do this at the end, you can. But I'm pretty confident that's where I'd like it to stay. So what I do to lock it in so it doesn't move when I'm doing the next ones is I'll take my pliers and I'll push this part down. It also makes it look really sharp. So see, I'm just very gently compressing it there. That is an optional step. You don't have to do it, but it makes it really pop. And so it sits right there on the frame. Let's get another bead. So I'm going to just trace this way. I'm kind of using my fingers this time. You could straighten it every time. It does work harden it when you straighten it a little bit. So by the time we get to the end, we'll have work hardened it quite a few times. So I try to do it only when I really need to. And folding it forward just like that. And then just really carefully pull that through. And bring it up. And then I keep going. And one more. Okay. And if we're happy with it, then awesome. Just checking out the back here, making sure I'm happy on this side, happy with that side. I'm just gonna do this little lock. And I don't think everybody does that lock step. It's a me thing. It's a little bit different, but I don't know, I kind of like it. And I'm already starting to get a little bit of a coil here, so let's be careful as I bring the seed bead on. There we go. Okay. All right, so got this one here. We'll do a few more of these and then we'll jump to the part where we put the charm on. Okay, there's one. I really hope it's not super loud hitting the camera. This is something that happens with the wire. Thread is a lot quieter.
You can't really hear it.
Oh, you can't? Oh, thanks, Ilse. Yeah, I was worried because it's loud on my end. It's making all kinds of tapping sounds.
No, don't worry. Zoom is really good about managing the sound, so you're good.
Yeah, it is really good, isn't it? I noticed that. And just straightening out the coils, and then same thing here on the back. I'm gonna just take a look, and this one looks like I could help it a little, tiny bit.
Oops, hi, Danielle. It's Millie.
Hey, Millie.
I just had a question about what would happen if you used a larger bead. Do you need to do more wraps?
No, you can absolutely use larger beads. It would be the same exact technique, actually. the wire would just stand a little taller on the side that I've been calling the back side, but some people make this their front too. So, I mean, totally, but it's up to you. But it would just stand a little taller back here. It might consume your wire a little faster. So you might need to up that number from 40 inches to like, depending on how much you're adding in height. There's probably a way to math that. I would have to think about it for a sec, but I'm using what's the equivalent of a 4mm bead right now, because most 6.0 compute out to about 4mm. So 4mm around this finding, I needed 40 inches of wire. So if you had to add a millimeter or two to that times however many beads, you can maybe figure out how much to add, or you could just be lazy and say add 10 inches or something and just have extra if you have extra. That's what I would do. I honestly eyeball it. I only measure if I have to write instructions. It's the total truth there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The other question was if we could use copper electroplated wire, like colored.
Yeah, like colored craft wire. Yeah, that should be fine. I think all this particular technique does not require it to hold its shape. Like for example, ear wires, you may want to go with something that's got a little more hardness to it. But if what you're describing is like a craft wire with a coating, that yeah, should be totally fine for this.
Okay.
I do admit to a preference for German style though. Only because it for me, I feel like when I position that wire, it stays put when I'm using the German style. And I do like that a lot. And I know I have that in common with Sarah Lovecraft. She also really likes to use German style. So that's like at least two folks I've heard that say that they really do prefer it. But that said, I think everything works. And I have absolutely used craft wire to do this kind of wrapping and it's worked out fine. So yeah, how are you guys feeling about this? Do you want to go one more wrap or do you want to see the next step? I can go ahead and throw maybe just one more on while we wait. And see if there's, just in case anyone just got here. What we've been doing is we've been putting seed beads on 24 gauge wire and wire wrapping it to this beautiful pear-shaped component. And so we just get the seed bead on, just bring it through, and just I'm very carefully bringing this wire through the center and around. And one thing that might answer the question from earlier also is because you don't see me using the Nylon Jaw Pliers every time. I'm doing something with my fingers that's a little hard to see off camera, but after you pull it through here, I'm doing this with it all the way down, just to kind of I think the heat from your fingers actually helps kind of anneal it out, maybe in a very subtle way, if that's possible. It just kind of seems like it to me. And again, I'm doing this little lock thing, optional step that I just like to do. And see how that just looks so sharp when you get that going. All right, so that's step one, is just starting to coil. And you would want to keep going like that until you get to somewhere about yay here or so. And you want to stop maybe like a little bit before it. And so I'm going to switch over to this one here. Cooking Show Magic. And this one's ready to go. As you go around, you'll notice that just at the curve, it may just become a little bit more difficult to get your coils perfectly aligned. And that's okay. They're all like that. All of the ones I'm wearing are like that. And you don't really notice it. You notice it at this closeness, but not when somebody's wearing it. I tend to focus more on like the flow of the bead. Does it look really nice? I'm not loving that gap right there, but I'm going to live with it. Or maybe I'm going to fix it. I don't know. But it looks pretty good, I feel like. So when you get to right about here, I finished the first two of what will be 3 coils after this bead was added. And I'm going to go around one more time. Like that. Bring it through. And then bring it up this way. So this is our 3rd coil. And I'm just bringing it up in this direction. So it's facing the point. Yeah, the gap there, you could just keep wrapping if you wanted to. But then I was looking at it and I felt like the flow between the two, see like that, this has that same flow. So to the eye, let me show you on what one I'm wearing when it's finished. This one wasn't done perfectly, but yeah, you can kind of see. Let me show you on this one. Maybe this one's a better example. I feel like the gaps flow, but you could, if you wanted to just keep coiling until you get right to here, you could do that too. I think there's really no wrong way to do it. It's just what looks good to you. But to match what I did on the others, I'll stick with this one here for now. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring out the bail pliers. So bail forming pliers are pretty cool. Some people call them stepped bail making. They have a bunch of different measurements. I've been working with a small one. That seemed to be all you really needed to get that jump ring through and attach our terms. So I was just putting it in place, and you can go either direction, but just I'm using the small one. So the small one's the one I'm going to coil over. And then I'm just going to bend this around it like that and bring it behind. So just like that. And that's how I create just an extra little loop for our charm. And so I'm going to be a little gentle with it so I don't pull it tight closed when I'm doing this next coil. This next coil I'm going to just bring over here just to kind of match what I did. And I'm going to go around again. So I have two. And now I'll put on another bead. Bring that one down. And we're back to where we were, just coiling around. One thing I would say for this spot right here, and give me 1 second, I'm just going to bring the camera up a little. It's starting to do the thing again. There we go. A little bit better. Okay. It's a little tricky on this part. So something that could happen, and it happened to me on one of the samples I was working on this morning, is when I got to the other side, I ended up accidentally putting less beads here than here. I just wasn't pressing tightly enough. And what happened is when I got up to here, I only had room for 3 beads instead of the 4 I started with. And I really wanted it to be symmetrical. But because this is, let me show you on this one, the finding is wider here than up here. Our usual trick for sliding this stuff around doesn't work. So maybe when you get to this spot right here, just think about my mistake and try to push stuff closer to the side as you work up the next side. And I found that really helped me because on the one I made right after this, I got it right. And I was really happy with my result on the one that I did after that one. So that was more like my warm-up piece. So there, just mindfully, just kind of giving that an edge, because notice how closely spaced these are. These are super close spaced. I want to match what I did there. Let's flip that over. And I might even just kind of straighten out these coils and do another lock. And I don't know if I did that for this one. I know I did. I think I did. Yeah. Okay. And so it's just coming right along. And so I'm just going to add another one here. And again, just going to hold that bead and bend the wire this way, bring it through. Okay. So far, so good. And how are we doing? We're doing so great on time. It's only half past. So I could keep going on this one for a little while and just show you working around the different shapes here, but I do have one done ahead that I can show finishing too. So we can show both, but let's just keep going so we have time. And a great time for questions because I'm just going to be coiling and coiling around. My goal is to get it right to that spot. For some reason, I overestimated how long it would take to demo part 1. Okay. And I forgot to lock the last one. Let me put this one on and we'll go back in. I actually didn't lock the last one yet, in case I want to slide it. Okay, let's take a look at the back. Oh, sorry about that. Went off camera there. Okay. And that spacing seems, we got 4 and 4, and we're kind of at the same spot. Test it at this spot. Because if you don't test it here, what happens is when you get to the next coils, once you put one on this thinner spot here, you can't slide it down. It won't have enough room to slide because this part's thinner than that part. So this is kind of our last chance to adjust right here before we come up around. So if I'd done that here, I wouldn't have ended up with my spacing issue. So that's one of the things you could also watch for when you're making yours. And then I did see another question pop up about thread. If you were to, not thread, forgive me, seed beater, wire, if you run out. And yeah, that does happen. And so the best way to do that is just to bring on a new strand of wire and coil it. What I usually do when I've made a mistake like that is I'll end one short a coil or short maybe 1.5. Like I'll try to like, stop it at the back, and then you'll have some overlap at the back. Kind of hard to avoid, but then go around a couple more times. It's easier if you're doing 4 coils. When you're only doing 3, it's hard because I feel like 1 isn't enough to hold either the starting wire or the finishing wire. But if I had to prioritize 1, I would finish the old wire with just 1.5 coils. And then I would bring a new one on just like we started this one and start making 2 coils, or just live with having 1 extra coil between one of the beads and no one will see that really. So that's one way to do it. But yeah, that does happen sometimes, especially when you're in the planning stage of a design and you're not 100% sure how much wire you're going to need. And you just try it out and you're loving it and then you're running out of wire. It's kind of devastating. I hear you. And actually, I think one of the ones I'm wearing had a wire add on it. So I'll take those off in a second. We can take a look and see where I did that. Okay. And it doesn't really need it, but why not? I'm going to bring up these and just pull that through. And let's take a look on this side. And I noticed you don't really need to do this with all types of beads. It looks really good with seed beads though, that lockstep. I think it's because they sit sideways. Yeah, and Susie's saying you can wire up beads to anything. So true. Absolutely true. I mean, and you can wire up literally any beads. They can be 11 millimeter. I've done 11mm beads before. Like I used to do these little kind of cascades where you'd start with a really small bead at the top of a component and then come down to the side and put those big beads at the bottom. It's kind of a decor, and it really worked. You kind of want to go maybe up to 22 gauge if you're working with a gemstone that's heavy, but it absolutely can be done. All right, and so I'm starting to develop a little spacing issue. I don't know if you guys see it. See how on the side it's kind of, I got a little gap there. Still not loving that gap. It's really easy to have that happen here. Let's keep going. We're actually going to finish this one. That's pretty cool. Well, we're definitely going to have time to do the ear wires. That is for sure. Okay. And around one more time. All right. So I could speed coil the rest of this one, or we can just swap ahead to this one and see finishing. We're kind of right at the spot where everything's the same. Maybe we'll do that so we can have lots of time for questions on those ear wires. And yeah, Millie's saying that I've been using 24 gauge. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. I'm over here on this one now, same thing we've been doing. And I've added my last bead, the last bead that I could fit. I wish I could fit one more, but I'm okay with it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and bend this forward like that. Maybe adjust it up just a little bit. And I'm gonna trim the tail at the back just so that it is not visible from the front. And then flatten it down. And that's all you have to do. That's the cool thing about wire. No weaving in. That was good. Oh, thanks, Sharon. Yeah, this background color, I chose it because of the eggshell. It was not visible on the lighter color background, I noticed. So we've got 2 earrings all set here. They need ear wires and they need charms. So let me grab our charms for these and I'll show you what I did to attach them. So I'm just going to cut it free from the coil there. And then just finding the seam on that. And then just super easy. I'm just going to attach it here. It's a strong jump ring, and I'm trying to be careful with my coil. Got a little bit of an overlap. There we go. Okay, so that one looks really cute. And the same thing on this one, you just want to put the charm on there. Might use my smaller pliers. They just a little tough to get those other ones working. Here we go. Ooh, that one is really pretty. Look at that. I need to finish the pear for this one because that is super cute. All right, so now we just need some ear wires. So I was going to show you guys how to make your own. And the reason I like to do that on designs where I've done wire wrapping is so they match. Sometimes, especially with gold, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but gold wires can be very different colors. And so if you have the same brand of wire in 20 gauge that you used in your 24, you can go ahead and grab that. So I'm grabbing some 20 gauge German style. And I'm going to cut, you can do 2 inches or you can do 1 3/4. But the distance that you cut actually doesn't matter. You can make them different. But if you want the 2 pairs to match, just make them at the same time. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's start with, I'll measure. I usually don't eyeball it, but let's go for, let's do 2. Let's do 2 inches. This measurement can be anywhere from 1.5 to 2 to even 2.5. You'll just get a longer ear wire. Let me show you what I mean. See, this one I went with a little more length and it's a little bit longer. And this one I went with 1.75. It's just a little shorter. As you can see, it's got the same curve. It's just the height is different. So try it and see what you like because they're all gonna look beautiful. They're just gonna be a little more tall or a little more shorter ear wire. Before you do anything with the one you just cut, measure one exactly like it. You just want to trim that. So now we've got 2 exactly the same length. And this is where you can get creative. If you have a set of dowels, great, use those. Those are the gold standard. If you don't have those, or if you can't find them like me, you can use your needle case. Just be gentle with it. These are actually, I believe these are plastic. So these are the ones that are in Michael's that have our needles that we use for our seed beading classes. If you're not a seed beater, almost everybody's got a permanent marker that they can pull out. Permanent markers are cool. You can use that too. But just anything really that you can wrap around that's roughly, let me show you in my dowel set what that one is. Let's see. I think it's 0.5 inch. Yeah, I'm thinking this is about 0.5 inches as far as like the diameter there. So, or sorry, circumference around. So let's go ahead and bend. Debbie says she likes that needle case. Oh, you lost yours? Oh no. I hope you find it. So this is how I did mine. I literally just use this. That's what I usually do rather than searching for something. And so that's ready to go. And once you've gotten that all set, in fact, while it's still on there, even if you want, if you've got any kind of like differences here, you can trim it up. So might do that. Okay. So now they're exact with each other and they're flush because I use the flush side of my flush cutters. Set that aside. And now you can work separately with them and they'll come out the same. You'll want to use either your stepped bail making pliers or use some round nose with a Sharpie marker on them. So take a Sharpie marker and draw a line at the spot so you're using the same spot. And that's usually what I do if I don't have these handy. But today I'm just going to use the small step. And I'm just going to roll this forward into a simple loop. Got that one. Same thing on the side. And so those look good. And then if you have some square chain nose are the best for this. So, or just kind of a wider chain nose. I'm just going to take the end here. And hold in that flush with the edge. And we'll just bend that forward like that. And do the same thing with this one. There we go. We have ear wires. So they're not ready to wear yet. There's two things you'll need to get done. If you have a nail file, yeah, I'm getting to that part too. If you have a nail file, you'll want to finish the edges, or if you have a wire rounder. I'm going to need to raise my camera a little bit here. It did a little drop thing again. But I believe, so I have one of these. And I believe this one I did actually get at Michael's. They come with this little rubber tray. I did not see it in store last time I was there, but I am certain it's available as one of the online delivery options. If you just Google, like for example, even like a stamping block, you know, for like the stamping into metal, one of those would also work great for something like this. So if in the absence of one of these, you can just get a piece of wood, just get it like a wooden block, and that would be. Oh yeah, Marguerite says, yeah, she's got the brand name in the chat right there. Any kind of hammer, I'm not gonna be able to get my hammer under there. I do like to use a rawhide hammer. And this one I got probably 10 years ago. I don't remember where I got this, but it is cool and it works really nicely. So you just gently, I can't really get my camera up high enough. Let me see if I can. We'll just lift up here. Just really gently. And it's loud, apologies. But you just want to tap it and then you just flip it. If you just wanted to take two pieces of wood and use them like a kind of wire whack, just kind of slam them together, like clap them together on top of it, that would work too. I've even seen people take a little bit of masking tape and cover it up too, like the painter's tape that will come off so that it doesn't mar. I don't usually have a mar problem when I'm using my rawhide though, or nylon will work too. Nylon hammer would also be great. A nail file can do the trick for this if you have one handy. I know this is available online at Michael's. It's the wire rounder tool from Bead. You can use this if you want to just kind of take those ends and then just kind of spin them around. But you can literally just use a nail file if you have one. It's just the tools are fun. But you can see how that's kind of getting those ends to be really good. So that's how I've always done it. I have friends that use a tumbler. They have an actual, like, they'll make a bunch of these and then they'll just put them into a jewelry tumbler with some shot and some soap. But those are usually made of precious metals that are, you know, not a coated wire. So that said, I don't know that it wouldn't work. So you could probably read the manual and see what it says about what kind of things they recommend putting in for your brand of tumbler if you're doing that. But I used to bring mine over to a friend that did it, and it was really fun to see when they came out. They look like really professional. So yeah, there's your ear. Let's put them on. Let's put them on the finished earring here. It's gonna open up this one. Oops. My camera is really leaning there. Get that on there. And then we'll just close that up. And that's all there is to it. You've got your earring. Super, super easy. So we have a bunch of extra time. I'm going to fix my camera because it started to lean down a little again. I'm going to have to figure out what I did there. But is there questions for me about any of these steps? Anything you guys want to see? I think there was one earlier about adding wire, and I was going to show you my other earring. Maybe I won't point it out at first. Maybe you guys guess, where did I add wire? It is easy to spot. You can see it. So right there. And I opted for just having 4. Actually, it looks more like 5. But nobody noticed it until I pointed it out. And these were like on the cover of the handout, literally. And they're beautiful. So don't sweat it. That's like my whole point is, like, if you're making something and it looks stunning like this, don't sweat that it's got extra coils there because you added wire. Nobody's gonna know. They're just gonna love your earrings. And what else can I show you? Because we do have lots of time.
We decided that nobody should be that close to your ear if they notice where you're adding it.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
And there was just a question about how you push them together, how you lock them when you were doing that with the.
Yeah, actually, maybe I'll just bring back this one we were working earlier, and I can show it a few more
You
times.
could just show that one more time. Thank you.
Yeah. I was not expecting this to go so quick. They seemed it would take longer when I was doing the samples. So here we go. So I'm getting another bead on here. And what I usually do for to start is I'll just hold it like this and just push the wire back like that. Push it through and pull. And we'll go around. And actually, let me grab my. This is one spot where some finer tipped ones can really help. Okay. So the locking thing, sometimes it doesn't need it, but sometimes I feel like it does. And it really makes a profound difference in the appearance of the beads from the front, because it makes them all sit. When you're working with a thin component like this, see how it's much thinner than the bead. This bead is kind of back here and this one's further up. I want them to sit so that they're a little higher on the front side. And it also makes your coil less likely to move when you add the next one. So what I do is I just come along and after I've gotten everything good like that, straighten out by going like this. And what I'm doing is I'm just compressing and really gently, so you don't want to mar it, but I'm just compressing the wire there to make that bead kind of pop forward. And now it's more in plane with the others. When you don't do that, sometimes what happens is you get kind of a wobble. You'll get some that are kind of facing forward, some that are facing back, and that could just be errors in my own technique. Maybe that doesn't happen to everyone. So that's why I always tell folks this one's optional. This one might just be a me thing. I'm not sure. But I figured I would share it in case somebody else likes it. And it is definitely probably not the only way to make those line up. I try lots of ways to do that.
And we've got one more challenge. What if you want a dangle from the top? Would you
Oh,
just
yeah. We could play with that. I would probably do a brio wrap for that. I would probably find something I wanted to suspend. And I mean, you could even just do a good old wrap loop. Like, let's take a look at this one. Let's look at this one. Like if we wanted something to hang down here.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, let's think about that for a sec. So first of all, I would want to, yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's get a scrap piece of my wire here. And I might even go up to 22 for this, 22 gauge instead of 24. I feel like 20 would be too big. Let me see. Okay, so apologies. This part was not in the handout, but it's an extra. But I happen to have some. So I'm going to go to 22 because I want this to stay and hold its shape a little bit. And I'm making this up as I go. So let's see. Let's do like 3. I don't know, maybe like, let's go right there. It's probably more than I need, but I just want to have room. And I don't have an extra, well, I have some extra charms here, but I want to show an idea that popped in my head. So I'm just going to make one. So holding all those together, just going to bring it up on my fingers like that. And if I can get that to look pretty and bring it into a point, let's see. Not quite round enough. Maybe I will let's use our tool from earlier. Our needle case. Okay, it's a little rounder looking. Okay. Might not work as much as I hoped, but that's a little better. Okay, so I want to make a little dangle like that. So we probably don't even need to brio wrap it. We could probably, and I probably could have used regular 24 gauge would have probably been okay. But what I'm going to do is, so bringing those out like that, and I'm going to trim the shorter one. Better end. I might even cover the whole thing with beads. That would be cute too. Maybe next time I do that. Okay, just trimming that. And I'm going to bring this forward. And around. Okay, I'm just doing a little coil, just like that. Does that look pretty? Maybe if I put more seed beads, that would look even cooler, but I feel like that's still kind of cute. And for demo purposes, I think it'll work. I would probably play with it more and make it a little fuller, and I might make that circle a little more perfect. But that's cool. It looks good. Okay. And trim that. And let's see, let's grab these. All right, let's dangle this one. We could put a little dangle in the middle like that. Yeah, and the only issue I'm seeing here, this little loop is too small for my original idea once you get the ear wire in. So what if we very quickly bring this one up? How are we doing on time? We were tight. Okay. Speeding through, getting this one to where I want it to be, and then I'll show you. We're going to use the end of this wire to create a little thing there. Watch me throwing out the window everything I told you guys about going slowly. It's tempting the wire fates there. Okay. Another bead. Oop, we're not. Definitely easier to do when it's shorter though. Almost there. There we go. Okay. I think it's going to need one more. Let's get one more on there. Woohoo! Okay, now we're there. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this around. Okay, there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so normally we would take from this spot and we would trim it. But instead of trimming it, I'm gonna bring it down. So down like that. I'm gonna find my sweet little charm that I made. And the first thing I'm gonna do on this charm is turn my coil. I want it to face like that. Okay, bring that on. Let's just take a quick look and see how that's gonna look. Right there, okay. Now I'm up on the other side now. So we came around back behind on this side, strung this on right here, and now I'm over here. So now let's just very gently and carefully go around right this side. This side's gonna have an extra coil. Maybe I could have done 4 coils to make that match on this side. That would have been good. So maybe I would have done 4 here so that it matches 4 on this side if we care that much. But like we were saying earlier, it doesn't really make a big difference. And I might even do 1 more. Make it extra strong. Let's see how that's working. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I made it a little too tight. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, I can get around 1 more time. This one's still able to hang. Okay, it's not perfect, but I think with more time, I could probably perfect that. I did a couple things wrong. I'll show you what I did wrong. I didn't secure my loop down. What I should have done is I should have used my bail making pliers here to make sure that that stayed lower. Because what happened when I did my coil tightly is it pulled it up at the back. It's still gonna work, but it'd be really hard to duplicate that. It might actually look really cool. But I'm not sure I could do it twice. So I would have to play with that and perfect it. But it looks really cool. There's work to be done, obviously, with it, but it's not a bad prototype. So yeah, things I would have done differently. I would have used my bail making pliers here. I would have brought them right under here and held them in place and gotten that wire to make a little loop downward so that when I put this on, it didn't get pulled up at the back when I tighten my coil, because this needs to be lower, that right there. And then secondly, I would have made more coils here before jumping over so that there's the same number of coils at the top, just to be a perfectionist. But yeah, so that's one way you could do it. Certainly not the only way. If you're using this pear shape though, you're going to find that this hole's not big enough for a jump ring and your ear wire. So, but maybe you could get some 24 gauge in there. It's just you wouldn't have sway because you want this to move, like, and be able to move. So I would rather do something kind of more creative like that and get it to suspend. Yeah. Well, hey, we use the time wisely, so that's pretty good. Hopefully it answered a question or just maybe even inspired a brand new idea out there. Someone who can do this better than I just did there, hopefully. Because yeah, it's a little messy, but yeah, but it works. It works. It came out really cool. And so there's our ear wires and our earrings and all set. Next week we have a Millefiore daisy chain, which is a super popular, still trending as always. Every year it's always trending. And so that one is right here. It's a really pretty daisy chain. And there's two different versions. There's a tight version and a spaced version. And then a little pop there of some other stuff coming up. This one it looks like foxglove flowers. Out by the pond near my house, there's these flowers that look like little pointed like little pointed hats, I guess. So this was inspired by that. And then there's a cool color block with neon, because summer and neon, we need to stay bright. And so yeah, that's what's coming up. And what else can I tell you about? Yeah, there's a blog. You can join our blog.johnbead.com. You can also go to social media and hashtag Make It With Michaels and hashtag John Bead, so we see all of your beautiful creations. All right, guys, I want to wish you a happy weekend, happy beading, and I can't wait to see what you post. All right, have a good weekend, guys.